Hi, John here. Today we're going to talk about a life application of some of the things that we've been learning together. When we learn about Sovereign Journey, we see how individual we are in the same place as everybody else, but with an individual view of it, we see that. And then if we study about observation, and we see that that's very important too because it gives us some clarity and discernment. And okay, but how do these things fit into our everyday lives and the decision makings that we have? Or are these just theories that sound good but we never really use? So today we're going to look at something that's kind of really important. And I think if you get this, you may be able to cut out 80%, hear me now? 80% of the problems that come into your life. Huh? So let's just try it. Here is the saying. If it doesn't affect my breathing, it's none of my business. If it doesn't affect my breathing, it's none of my business. So, to really understand this, we have to figure out what affects our breathing. So let's look at it in an intelligent way. We have to have some place to live, so housing affects our breathing. We have to have food and a job to make money to have food, so that affects our breathing. Our family affects our breathing. Our children are the wards of our lives, and our wives or our spouses are our partners. So they affect our breathing. And anybody else in your house. It doesn't happen much in North America, but if you've got grandmothers and grandfathers or aunts or uncles that you're taking care of, they affect your breathing because they're in your daily life. That's your immediate home. If it doesn't affect the things that are critical to you every day, to you and your sovereign journey, then they probably really don't have a big part in your life other than maybe just as data or information. But what happens, and you'll maybe see this in your own life, we hear about something going on in some peripheral part of our perimeter, and we attach ourselves to their story and involve ourselves in their problem and in their journey. And that situation had nothing to do with our daily life and the need for our breathing. It did not affect our family directly. It did not affect anything that you need to make life work in the essential way. I mean, we all need the fellowship, and we all need to have friends, and we all need all those things, but how far do we go? Again, we're looking for balance. So as we look at this situation, you're going to see all the other things that we've talked about come into play. You're going to see the importance of the sovereign journey. You're going to see why it's called sovereign, because it's mine. So when we move ourselves into somebody else's journey, we retard both of them. And this is why. Whatever that person is going through, whatever life has done to stop him or her cold, it's for a reason. There's something for them to learn. Now, they can certainly come to you for counsel, but not to be enabled. And when we jump into somebody's journey and start telling, well, if I were you, I would do that, or this is the way I see it, or I never did like him or her anyway, and I understand. And when you start to placate this thing, you confuse them and cause chaos, and they can't get their mind right because they have an obligation to settle the contrast in their own journey. While you're over there helping out, you're not going anywhere because your essential things, the things that affect your breathing, are going unattended. So, is this a good thing? Well, let's spread it even further because we want to go higher and deeper in our situation. So if mom or dad are busy over there helping out somebody with their love life or their concerns or the fact that things aren't going just perfectly in their life, home's not being taken care of. So somebody's being neglected, or somebody has to step in and do something, and everybody's happy to do that when it's a legitimate and real family issue that's something that affects everybody's breathing. This doesn't. Not only that, because you cause chaos and confusion, I can almost guarantee you that at the end of the day, when it's all settled, you'll get no respect or appreciation. Somehow you will have been blamed for it and end up yourself in a whole bunch of chaos and bring that nonsense and that trouble into your own home. Now it affects your breathing. But really, what have you done? You've created, because we're creators. We can create on either side of the fence. What have we really done? What we've done is gone over there, messed up with all the good intentions, their process, retarded our own, and with any sense of the way things go, it'll probably be back in our home, and now we got a whole new dialogue going on that should have never been touched. Now this is serious because I can tell you that in developing nations, when you put ego in the middle of all this, I could save 1,000 lives a year in some countries that I know of if we could just mind the things that are critical to make our life work. And we can watch these other people go through their situations with the empathy that enlightenment brings. From a place of observation that brings discernment enough to know that, wow, I know what that looks like, and I see that they have to go through that because I've been through it. Or I'm going to observe them and learn so that if I ever see anything like this coming in my life, it will give me some indication. Or, wow, I'm glad that I live this way as opposed to that way, which fortifies your way of life and that you're doing everything that you need to do to maintain the things that are important to you that affect your breathing. Does this make any sense? I hope so, because if you can start to practice and really see how many things you or your family are involved in that truly is none of their business, their intellectual business, none of their social business, certainly nothing that can be redeeming on any fact unless you're asked. There's no need to do anything but to maybe sympathize or empathize. This is something that will clean up your entire family if you can get everybody on board. And believe me, it takes a little bit of time. But it's a nice restraint, and it's discipline. And it's the things that help to make us whole, that we can spend more time inside and more appreciation in our observation. So there's many things that come into play in this very real-life situation. It's not my business if it doesn't affect my breathing. Because there's power in the breath. And you'll find yourself involved in situations that you can't get out of and takes maybe years sometimes to get out. Spend some time on yourself. If it doesn't affect my breathing, it's not my business. And then I can be very whole in case they come and they need help, without any investment or judgment that I've had to make because of my involvement. Make sense? Yeah, I hope so. Thanks very much for your time.